an unforgettable journey through Egypt with Hues of Africa and Soul Journey Travel. Discover the wonders of this ancient land with our expertly curated itinerary, from the majestic pyramids of Giza to the tranquil waters of the Nile. Immerse yourself in the rich history and vibrant culture of Egypt. Book now and use discount code VICTOR2024 to save $100 off your trip. Single and dual occupancy options available with flexible payment plans. Visit our website for more details and start your adventure today.
Fantasy, sports, and politics.
Get ready to rumble!
You wanna talk smack? You in the right place. So take a step back before I get all up in your
Remember, because I don't remember. I remember every bit of this.
The other dudes holding on the phone line. Your voice will be heard, sir.
Next caller, please.
Oh!
Kirk's gonna get him.
Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics.
Listeners are asking questions about this week's games, not Jerry's personal beef. So what's your thought?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's Mr. FSP, doing what I do because I do it for you all day, every day. Again, trying to figure out where my co-host is. You know, how do we do these things? I don't know. I thought we show up a little earlier, but that's just me. Anyway, welcome to Fantasy Sports and Politics. It is the second week of July. It's blown by. July 13th. In less than a month, we'll have our first preseason game. Rookies' mandatory report date, I believe, is Monday or Tuesday. There's going to be a lot going on. A lot. So with that being said, what's going on with the number one overall pick? I believe Rome Odunze was the number 9 overall pick or 10, something like that. Both Chicago Bears, head coach, possibly the GM, jobs on the line. They brought on all this great talent. We'll see. That's not the subject of the day. The subject of the day or the subjects of the day are the NFC East, AFC North and South. Supposed to give you predictions on that. Supposed to do that with my co-host. We're waiting on him to show up. Hopefully he does. If not, I will have to power through and hopefully he shows. So last week, I did the AFC East. For those of you that didn't catch it, you can always go back on my YouTube page or my Facebook page and check it out. I'm streaming this one on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube because I want to give different outlets more information. I'm always going to be on Facebook. I'm always going to be on YouTube, but I'll probably switch up between X, LinkedIn, and Twitch for that third source. But with that being said, we did the AFC East last week where I pretty much said it's going to come down to the Jets and the Dolphins. I'm giving it to the Jets with, I believe, a 14-3 record or a 13-4 record because I'm banking on Aaron Rodgers staying healthy all season long. Now, if he doesn't stay healthy all season long, okay, we got a problem. But Tyrod Taylor is no slouch. He is no slouch. They won 7 games, or was it 9 games last year with 3 different quarterbacks. So I think Aaron Rodgers being in the fold gives them a better shot of getting between 13 and 14 wins. Now, I know their schedule is tough at the beginning, but I think they power through it and they clean out the back end. Finishing second, I had the Miami Dolphins. The The reason why I have Miami finishing second is because they don't win in December. They got to change that. I know that's been an area of emphasis from the coach and from the organization as early as the draft back in April, because they come out smoking hot. But as soon as it gets cold, it's like, what happened? So that's why I have them finishing second. Third, I have Buffalo finishing in third because I think they lost too many weapons. And you're relying on Josh, but I'll put it this way. Josh's targets, Curtis Samuels, when healthy, can be a good guy. Shakur, who is a very good receiver, but not ready to be that superstar, or I don't think he's going to be that superstar. Keon Coleman, a rookie who needs to refine his route tree, because right now, and I hate to admit it, but Jerry was right about him being a jump ball guy, but he's a very good target. And then you have the two tight ends, Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid. Those will be very good and very positive threats, but you need somebody that's going to be a receiving threat outside of the numbers. I don't think they have that. Also, James Cook, let's hope he figured out his fumbling issues. But right now, I'm not sold. He's going to be drafted in fantasy drafts, but I'm not sold on him. And lastly, I really think 1,000%, whether it's Jacoby Brissett or Drake May, that the New England Patriots are going to finish 3-14. I explained it last week, and I just don't think they have what it takes. And they're going to have the number one pick next year. I just think that's going to be the case. I don't think they have a lot of weaponry. And depending on the philosophy of their head coach, it's going to be a long, tough winter up in that area. It's going to put it that way. But that recaps what I did last week. As I said, I didn't do the NFC East because I was waiting for my co-host. So today we're going to do 3: NFC East, AFC South, NFC South. We're going to go over each team. We're going to go over their schedule. We normally like to give you a lot of information about the different teams, but I don't want to take up too much time on that. So let me bring in my co-host who showed up, Mr. Jerry Taylor. And there he is, blurry as I don't know what, don't know why. I guess because he's moving a lot. You there, Mr. Taylor? Your internet good?
I'm here. On? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but you really are blurry, but it's okay.
Okay.
All right. Like I said earlier, we're streaming on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook for this. There you go. I guess it was all that moving you was doing that messed up the camera. So we're going to give our best analysis on these 3 divisions.
Okay.
And see what drops. Right?
Okay. No problem.
Let's start with the NFC East because it's supposed to have been last week, but I only did one division. So I'll give you the floor to bring up the first team because you weren't here last week. You pick the team, and then we'll discuss them and give our records.
Well, let me start with the team that finished last year. I worked my way up. How's that? We'll talk about your Washington Commanders. New quarterback, new coach, new offensive scheme, new defensive scheme. Basically an overhaul of the team. And a new beginning with in my opinion, the best quarterback out of this 2024 class in Jaden Daniels. My hopes are very high for the Washington Commanders. I think, in my opinion, they're going to finish about third.
No, save that until we go over the schedule. Save that until then.
Okay. I like the Washington Commanders. I like the outlook of the Commanders. I'm on the team. I just think there's a lot of pieces that need to fall in place in order for them to be successful. Okay. But let me put it, their arrow, in my opinion, is pointing up. So contrary to my host belief that I hate, I do not. I'm just realistic, and
you're a hater, but you don't hate.
No. I think I'm talking. Look, I'm talking about
you talking positive.
Your team, and I'm liking what I see, and it all falls, like I've always said, it all falls on the quarterback. I like this quarterback a lot. I like him, and I have to stress this, just like I said, Jordan Love last year. I like this quarterback a lot. And I think he's going to uplift the attitude and the play of the Washington Commanders. From what I've heard, there's a enthusiastic veteran wide receiver that really likes him and thinks he's going to inject a lot of positive things into the team. And I'm looking forward to watching them play. Okay? I'm looking forward to watching them play.
Tony, you're welcome to come on as well, but if you want to stay in the chat, that works too. So with that, since you covered the offense, which is very good, they also did an overhaul in the defense. They have two of the best defensive tackles in the game, and Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen. Where they sketchy are the outsides on the ends. They traded away both players. One they should have kept, the other one I can understand leaving. But that's where the trouble in my mind comes up. They, interestingly enough, drafted the best or the second best defensive tackle in the game from college in the second round this year out of Illinois. So I don't know if they're going to try to do a 4-4, a 3-4, or whatever they're trying to do, but you don't get that kid, especially that high in the second round. And if he's making waves, as I'm hearing in camp, he's going to have to play. But they also overhauled their linebacking core, which with Luvu from Carolina. I love this guy. He's a hybrid strong safety linebacker. He's going to be playing in the box a lot. And he hits, and he hits, and he hits. They also brought in a veteran, Bobby Wagner. Wagner still makes tackles. Wagner still makes plays. He is a very good player, and he's going to be the leader of this defense. That's what I expect from a middle linebacker, be the leader of the defense. Also, another guy I love that they got, Mr. Chang. They got Stephen Atwater's nephew from Carolina at safety. So not only did they draft a safety last year from Illinois and another set of players, they bring in a guy that you know is going to hit. They brought in hitters. That's what I mean to say. They brought in hitters. Now they're relying on Emmanuel Forbes to have a better year than his rookie year. Look, the kid is like a $160 soaking wet. Hopefully he got up to 170, 180, and still has that speed. Because in the style of defense, and I'm going to preface this by saying, we do not know what style of defense they're going to play. The defensive coordinator, along with Dan Quinn, said in Dallas, you might have thought it was a cover 3, but they mixed it up. Is the base of their foundation a cover 3? Quite possibly. But depending on their players, they might go cover 2. With the players they have there, I think they're coming hard after the quarterback this year from the edges with the linebackers. But Wagner, Luvu, hopefully Jamin Davis finds itself. If not, not a problem, young man. Happy trails. Because I don't think he's a very good linebacker. I think he's a pass rushing end. He's an edge rusher. That's what I think. I don't know how he's going to get used this year. With that being said, the secondary, the corners and the safeties outside of Chin and they're hoping St. Juice steps up. This is his final year of his contract. He took off the starting role last year, but he was beat quite a bit on man-to-man. Tall, lanky guy, but he's perfect for cover 3. He is perfect to play that Richard Sherman type of cornerback. We'll see what happens. But overall, the defense and the offense have been overhauled, like Jerry said. And they also had to get rid of their kicker, Mr. McManus, who they signed to a 2-year deal from the Jacksonville Jaguars. They released him after the allegations of what allegedly took place on an airplane while he was with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I don't even know who the kicker is, but we'll find out. Outside of that, Washington does not have an easy schedule. They do not. For a last place finish in the NFC East, and they're playing, I believe, the AFC North. That's not a good deal. That was not a good deal for the Washington Commanders or the NFC East. I'll just be honest. I believe the AFC North is the best division in football. But we'll get to that when we talk about them after when we get to the North teams. But with that being said, let's go to the schedule. Say again?
Interject for a minute. Let me just interject this for a minute. Okay.
Go ahead.
The Washington Commanders' strength of schedule is mid-pack. They're tied with 3 other teams, the Bengals and Vikings, which is the 6th part of the schedule. So they're in the middle of the pack.
And the Bengals
it could go either way.
Yes, true. The Bengals finished last in their division at 9-8, but they were still in the hunt for the playoffs. The Vikings made the playoffs. Washington was the number 2 overall pick in the draft. So I get what you're saying, but to me, it's like, wow, it's kind of rough. Let's go to the schedule real quick. All right.
Okay. Hold on.
They open up the season at Tampa Bay. And make sure you keep note of this, JT, so we can say what the records are, okay? They open up at Tampa Bay. Say again?
Let me get myself together here.
Okay. So they open up against Tampa Bay. Baker Mayfield gets a new contract. Mike Evans gets a new contract. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's all good. It happens when you show up for every show. But Tampa Bay, at Tampa Bay, Mike Evans gets a new contract. Baker Mayfield gets a new contract. Rashad White sounds like he's ready to run through a wall. But the defense is still not quite there. This is going to be a great test, in my opinion. I got to go with Tampa. I'm going to have Tampa win their home opener against Washington. Got them 0-1 starting the season. Go ahead, JT.
The first in Tampa Bay.
Yes, it's in Tampa Bay.
It's in Tampa Bay. Then if it's in Tampa Bay, I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay versus Washington.
Okay. Moving on to week 2, the New York Giants come to town. I'm going to be honest with you. After watching 2 episodes of off-season, NFL, whatever they call it, Hard Knocks.
Right.
I don't think the Giants going to do well at all this year. I really don't. You're saying I got you. I understand you. I feel you. But I don't like the way you guys handled that whole Barkley situation, or the fact that Christian Wilkinson was totally taken off the table because you paid a cornerback. And I get it. Corners are a premium, but so are defensive tackles that are, you compare them with another dominant defensive tackle and a pass rusher. And you're saying episode 1 says, you're paying a guy $40 million to hand off to a $12 million running back. That doesn't work. Well, you're going to pay a guy $40 million not to throw to some of the best targets in the league. So we'll talk about the Giants when we get there. Washington mollywops the Giants at home, game number 2.
Okay. Then the next one is at Cincinnati.
Are you picking at all?
Well, look, Washington. I think that Washington, New York, is probably going to be the last team. Okay, they're going to be bad. I'm not a big fan of Daniel Jones, and never a big fan of Daniel Jones. Washington wins that.
Okay. All right. At Cincinnati for week 3, here's an upset in my opinion because I believe that they're going to miss Joe Mixon.
Come on, man.
I know Zach Moss is no slouch, but I just don't think the defense of Cincinnati, they got Bates back. Good for them. But I don't think Cincinnati's defense is going to be ready to deal with the young scrambling quarterback. They're not going to be able to do to him what they've done to Lamar. The reason why I say that is because Lamar still finds ways to beat Cincinnati without the complementary wide receivers that Washington has. So the fact that they let go of Joe Mixon, who we're going to talk about later on, brought in Zach Moss to go with the young running back. T. Higgins isn't happy, but he's there. Jamar Chase is there, and he's going to want a new contract at some point. Joe Burrow put on 10, 20 pounds of muscle, which is good, but is that going to slow his mobility down? I don't know. I just think it's too much going on in Cincinnati this year. I think they're going to be the big disappointment this year. Will they finish last again? I don't know. We'll talk about that when we get to the AFC North, but I don't think they beat Washington this one. I got Washington winning. Go ahead, JT.
I got Cincinnati winning this game. They're going in Cincinnati, a healthy Joe Burrow with that offense and that defense. There's no way Washington's going to lose that game. I can't go any other way but Cincinnati winning that game with a healthy Joe Burrow. It's only week 3, so I imagine Joe Burrow will still be healthy. Too much offense, too much quarterback, and too much defense. I know you're high on your team, but that's okay. I understand that. But I think going on the road after playing a division rival at home, going on the road, playing Cincinnati in Cincinnati, it ain't going to happen. A win's not going to happen, in my opinion.
Okay. All right. Week 4, I will be at this game in Arizona as they go and take on the Cardinals. Listen, the Cardinals are in rebuild mode, even though they're not in rebuild mode. And I think Washington's ahead of them in that process. Mr. Connor came out and said $1,000 yards is the beginning for running backs. Well, I agree with you because there are 17 games. You should get 1,000 yards if you're a starting, let's say 60 to 70% of the snaps running back in a offense that runs the ball and not just throws the ball. That's a no-brainer to me. That's something that shouldn't be said, but it's the way he feels. So maybe they're going to run the ball more. We don't know, but Washington has an overall better team. I'll be there in my Terry McLaurin jersey, sitting in my seats, my club seats, and enjoying the show. JT.
I like Washington in this game, but it's going to be a very close game. Let me put it that way. They're playing in Arizona. Arizona usually plays. You got a premier offensive weapon in Marvin Harrison Jr. They got a decent running game in James Conner and Trey Benson. I like a close game, but I think Washington will pull this out. I like a close game, but it's going to be close. It can go. To me, this thing can go either way, but I like Washington's chances in this game.
And the game that already has some moolah on it. It has a little moolah on it. Yeah, go ahead. You're scratching your collar. I don't know what that for. But Cleveland comes to DC. Now look, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if it's going to be Dearness Foster. I don't know if it's going to be Nicholas Chubb. I just know Deshaun Watson, he's going to have a problem. Cleveland does very well at home. They are not the best road team. Deshaun Watson, it'll be week 4. He supposedly is feeling better from his surgery on his, I believe it was rotator cuff, or it was in his throwing shoulder, whichever one it was. But Cleveland, they're moving to a more pass-happy offense, which negates what Nick Chubb is and does for them. I understand they might be moving away from him. They reduced his contract. Got it. I just don't think Cleveland is a good team this year. Especially changing offensive coordinators to the guy that got fired in Buffalo. It's going to be tough. I got Washington, as Jerry already knows, because we have a wager on this. JT?
Let me just say this. Okay.
Ooh.
This team was the best defense in the NFL last year.
Was.
And wait a minute. I didn't interrupt you.
And yes, you did. Yes, you did. You said it several times while I was talking before, but go ahead. Don't even start.
Let me just do this. They're the best defense, one of the best defenses in the NFL. Is on the road. They've improved and quite naturally are working on their weaknesses that they had last season, even though they were the best defense overall in the NFL. Going up against the rookie quarterback, who I liked. Okay. They're playing on the road. Okay. But up until this point, that rookie quarterback had gone against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense, the New York Giants defense, Cincinnati Bengals defense, and the Arizona Cardinals defense. They haven't come up with a defense like this one. I got to say, I like Cleveland in this game, and regardless if I had any kind of monetary, any kind of, I still would go with Cleveland because they got the better defense, and I do believe that there's a surprise package to the NFL when it comes to the Cleveland Browns in the offense, especially the quarterback. Got something to prove. Okay. True. He hasn't what most people expect him to do in the last few years. But this is a prove-it year for this quarterback. He's got to prove that he can stay healthy and he can deliver. I like the chances. And the defense will give him chances to do what he needs to do to be successful. I like the Cleveland Browns.
All right. That's good. I mean, I was going to say something, but I'm not, because it's going to move to a different subject matter. But, a lot of people like talking about what they did in the past and not talking about what they're doing now. But, we'll see. Next game, tough game. Even though it's on the road, it's just up the street, really, at Baltimore. It's going to be a tough game. Washington isn't ready for the Ravens. I would say, even though Cleveland has had a good defense historically over the past 4 to 5 years, there are some major changes, but their defense isn't better than Baltimore's. And Baltimore has Lamar, a better version of the quarterback they're going to see the previous week. I got to go with Baltimore in this game. It's very easy to pick that one. Go ahead, JT.
Baltimore. I'm not even going to explain. It's Baltimore, and they're going to play Baltimore in Baltimore.
Okay. Some people say this is a homecoming game. I'm not so sure yet, because if Young gets his feet under himself, and that rookie running back Brooks takes the job from Chuba and takes over, Carolina could be a problem. But it's at home. About to say Cleveland again. The Carolina Panthers lose to the Commanders.
I concur.
All right. Next game, Chicago comes to town. Last year, since we're talking about past things, Chicago came in, did the thing. Shouldn't have, but they did. And it was a wrap. Shortly after, Washington trades Sweat to him. Listen, as much as I love my team, Chicago has assembled a very, very good lineup, offensively and defensively. The problem is they haven't signed the quarterback, and they haven't signed their number 3 receiver yet. But I believe Badgley, if he has to play in week 8 because there's an issue with Williams and all that other stuff, Badgley could do it. Now, my heart wants Washington to win. But on paper, so far, I got to give it to Chicago. I got to give it to Chicago, even though I already told somebody that Washington was going to win this game. I'm going to just have to – I want Washington to win, but they're going to lose. JT.
1 versus 2 in these 1 versus 2 in the draft. Show 1 versus 2. You think Jaden Daniels going to show Chicago? You mean give me? But it is what it is.
I don't know if Caleb Williams is going to be signed.
Cared if he's come on, he's going to be signed. I'm not worried about whether he's going to be signed or not. This is his 7th game or 8th game of. Okay, they're going to get him into the building signed. Okay. Now I'm not going to go any further. Okay. It's no surprise that he's not signed. Let me put it that way. It's no surprise that he's not signed because he's got a bunch of red flags, but that's it for another story. Okay, let's move on.
So who are you picking?
I like Washington in this game. Absolutely. Okay. I like Washington in this
game. All right,
game.
well, we're waiting on that. All right, so they go to the Giants. I think they're going to sweep the Giants. First time in a long time that they've done it. I think the Giants are so dysfunctional. They're going to get some wins, but
this ain't one of them.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. Without Saquon, I don't know. Go ahead, JT.
Devin Singletary? Really?
That's who they were loving.
Daniel Jones over Saquon Barkley. Really? Okay. Okay. I don't like Daniel Jones at all. I said that but more than one time, and this is going to show you why. This is a sweep in my opinion. They played him earlier in the season, and they played him in the 9th game of the 9th week again. It's a sweep to me. The Washington Commanders win this.
All right, on to Pittsburgh, where Pittsburgh comes to DC. Because the schedule gets rather tough after this, even though it's been kind of tough so far, but it gets tougher. Look, I think Russell finds a connection with Pickens and Van Jefferson, who's I believe is going to be the number 2, unless Wilson, the rookie, comes in and takes that job. But if it's going to be a run-heavy offense, Washington has the linebackers to stop the run, but I'm not sure if they're going to be able to stop Russ. It's at home. Pittsburgh is going to show up. Pittsburgh will show up. Now, I don't know if it's going to be a black and yellow sea like it's been in the past, but could be. I got to go with Pittsburgh in this game.
Oh, Okay, that's a loss. All right. I also go with Pittsburgh. I think they're going to be new and improved, and they're going to be surprised in the AFC North. I like Pittsburgh in this game.
And here we go. 2 games within the division at Philadelphia and then home for Dallas. So I believe the Dallas game is Thanksgiving. No, it's a 1 p.m. game on a Sunday, so it's not Thanksgiving. Look, I think Philly's the best team in the division. All the weapons they have. I do not like Kellen Moore calling plays, though. That is the one thing I don't like. But Philly's going to beat them. We're too young, too inexperienced on the offensive side of the ball. But I got Philly winning. And I also have Washington going to Dallas and losing that game as well. Or hosting Dallas and losing that game as well. So that's 3 straight losses I've given to Washington from week 10 through 12.
You know, Dallas comes to on Thanksgiving. Dallas comes to Washington.
No.
Okay.
No.
It's November 24th. That's
a Sunday. That is a Sunday.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Well,
Yeah.
First, they've got Philly, then Dallas. I did 2 teams at once. That's why I did that.
Okay.
So you got 2 teams.
I think they lose to Philly. Going on the road to play Philly, I think Philly is the best team in the division. And then they back-to-back division rivals. One is in the division rivals' home. The other one is at home for them. I think it's back-to-back losses, unfortunately. But you do the best you can. I mean, it's 2 division rivals that you got to deal with. That possibly 1 and 2 in the division compared to Washington. So I concur, 2 losses.
All right, then week 13 is home versus Tennessee. I believe they get back on track, even though Tennessee has a lot of weapons. We're going to talk about them shortly, but I think Tennessee isn't ready for that next step, and Washington beats them. By week 14, come week 15, 16, 17, and 18. They go to New Orleans, week 15. New Orleans is probably going to fire Dennis Allen before this game. I think they will. So I got Washington beating them. I really believe they're going to split with Philly and Dallas. So the home game in week 16 versus Philly, they win. Oh, week 17 in Kirk Kubangs in Washington. Time to be determined. If that's an evening game, or if that's a Monday night game, Thursday night game, I'm giving it to Washington. I'm a caveat. If it's a regular 1 p.m., 4 p.m. game, I'm going to give it to Atlanta because I think Atlanta is going to be a powerhouse team this year. And to finish off the season at Dallas, by that time, one of these 2 teams are going to be fighting for I think Dallas is going to have a playoff spot. I think this is going to be the game where Washington is fighting for the last playoff spot. That means spot number 7 in the playoffs. And I think they pull it out because Dallas doesn't play all their starters in this game to end the season. So I have them after the bye week, 1, 2, going 3-1, splitting with Philly, possibly losing to Atlanta, so I'm gonna give them a loss, beating New Orleans, and splitting with Dallas because Dallas has nothing to play for. JT, those last 4 games.
The last 4 games, I have them losing all of those games. All of them. I have them losing at New Orleans. I have them losing against Philly. Philly ain't going to let Washington beat them, especially going on the road. Philly goes on the road, division rival. If they got a chance, put Washington in the. You have no hope of getting to the playoffs. That's right there.
Okay.
Philly's got incentive. Going to play in Atlanta, too much offense with an improving defense, and at Dallas, the last game, Dallas ain't going. If Philly got if there's a chance that Washington may get in the playoffs, they beat Dallas. That ain't going to happen in Dallas. They ain't going to let it happen in Dallas. So I have them losing three out all games after their break.
So the final record, I give them what, and you give them what?
Hold on. I mean, I can tell you're a homer, but that's okay. Shoot.
No one's a home. What's that got to do with anything? Jeez.
All right.
See,
You have them 9-8. You have them 9-8.
Okay.
I have them 5-12.
I will tell you this. Pundits have said anywhere between 7 and 9 wins for them. 9-8, like I said, is getting them that last spot in the playoffs. I believe the NFC is a lot weaker than the AFC, even though they have probably 2 or 3 of the best teams. No, 3 of the best teams in the NFL. But that's all they really have. So 9-8 in my mind is really legitimate and possible. 5-12 is one game better than last year, and it will be way better than last year, in my opinion. Maybe not double up the wins, but better than one game. They're a lot better team on paper. All right, let's move on to the New York Football Giants. And in interest of time, we're going to go 2 or 3 games at a time. Okay?
Whatever you like. Whatever.
Because we still got 2 divisions to cover. That's why.
Whatever.
All right. So the Giants, who I believe is going to be the worst team in the NFC East, open up at home versus Minnesota. Here's the trick. I don't believe in Sam Bradford. I really don't. And if Sam Bradford is the starting quarterback week 1, which there are reports, coming out of Minnesota that he's going to be the number 1 quarterback, I got the Giants winning the first game of the season, giving them false hope. So I got the Giants beating Minnesota, losing at Washington, losing at Cleveland, and then losing at home to the Cowboys. That's the first 4 games. What you got, JT?
First 4 games, I have the Giants. They're playing the Vikings for the first time. Wow. The Commanders, Browns, Cowboys. I have the Giants. Losing all 4 of those games.
Okay, I got them 1-3. You got them 0-4. So let's go down to week 5, where they face not Cincinnati. They play the Seattle Seahawks. Then they go to the Cincinnati Bengals, Philly, and Pittsburgh. Look, man, I'm going to keep it real. I don't like Geno, but you're in Seattle. Zach Charbonnet and Walker have not been hurt yet. DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith and Jigba and Lockett. And that defense is a lot better. I'm going with Seattle. Cincinnati beats them as well. For all the problems Cincinnati has, I think they're still better than the Giants. Of course, I got Philly running roughshod over them. And like I said, I love Pittsburgh, so I got Pittsburgh beating them. So they lose all 4 of those games to me.
I have to say this. Seattle will beat them. They're in Seattle. A lot of teams struggle when they go on the road and face Seattle. Seattle's going to win that game. Cincinnati's a better team. Philly's quite naturally a better team. And I think Pittsburgh. Giants on the road against Pittsburgh are going to lose that game.
So you got them 0-8. You got them.
I got 0-8. 0-8 right there. Yes, sir.
I got them 1-7. All right, let's go on week 9.
Who's the 1 win? Who's the one win?
I told you I think they beat Minnesota week 1
Okay.
because I don't like Sam Bradford.
Okay.
All right. So it does not get better. I believe they lose to Washington again, as I said previously for the Commanders. But I think they beat the Carolina Panthers. Right? I believe they beat the Carolina Panthers at week 10, just before their bye week. It's at Carolina, but I think this is you got to beat this team. Excuse me. Bye week 11. And again, it doesn't get any better, man. Week 12, they got Tampa. Even though it's at home, I think Tampa is the better team. So I got them going 1-2 in the 4-week spread because they have a bye week 11. What you got?
I think they beat Carolina at home. Lose to Tampa. Lose to Dallas. Okay.
We haven't gotten there yet. We haven't gotten to Dallas yet, but okay. Dallas, because I'm going in four game blocks. Dallas, New Orleans, Baltimore, and the Saints are the next 4. I agree with you. They lose to Dallas, just a better team. I think they sneak out a nail biter versus New Orleans. That's why I think Dennis Allen is going to get fired. New Orleans is not a very good team, but it's by design because of the salary cap issues they have. If you don't know why New Orleans doesn't have that many good players, it's because their salary cap people did a great job to get them where they were before. But they've got so much bad stuff on the back end, it's coming back to get them. So I think they beat them, but they lose to Baltimore. And, of course, I believe they lose to Atlanta. Go ahead, JT.
You think they beat New Orleans?
Yeah.
Okay. I think they lose to New Orleans, Baltimore, and Atlanta.
Okay. So you got them losing all – you got them not winning one game yet.
Oh, I haven't won against Carolina, and I haven't won them against that's it so far.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Last 2 games of the season, Colts and Philly. Surprise, surprise, surprise. They beat the Colts. I don't think Anthony Richardson's development is going to be as quick as everybody else. He's going to have to use his weapons on the outside. Again, this is week 17, so he should have developed into it. If not, you're going to see Joe Flacco if this kid gets hurt again. If Joe Flacco's playing, I expect it to be a lot of points, but I expect the Giants to win either way, whether it's Richardson or Flacco, because I just think they have they're trying to save Daboll's job. Brian Daboll is a very good coach. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a very good team. And in my opinion, they're going to lose to Philly but beat Indianapolis. And I think that only gives them like 4 wins this year, if I'm not mistaken, on my end.
Yes. You have them 4-13. I have them
1 and something.
1-16. 1-16. They're going to be awful. They're going to be awful.
I agree, but I don't think they'll be 1-16 all of them.
Well, let me put it this way. I could be wrong 1 or 2 games, but if they win 4 games, I'd be very surprised. Extremely surprised.
I think they'll win 4 games. I think they'll win 4 games, man. I honestly think so.
Let me put it this way. They have a good defense.
Yeah,
but the problem is the defense is going to be on the field too much.
Agreed.
That's the problem. They're going to be on the field too much, and they're going to be giving up points. So what's the sense in having a good defense if that offense can't take advantage of it, or the defense is on the field too much? That's what I'm saying.
No. Listen, I agree with you. But I think in a couple of those games, especially versus the Panthers and the Colts, they'll have opportunities to really keep their offense on the field. Just my opinion. But I think they'll get 4 games. I mean, I'm not a Giants fan, but I'd willing to put money on that. Let's move on unless you want to put money on that.
I ain't putting no damn money
Okay,
on the
all
Giants.
right, well.
The
Like I
Giants,
said,
really?
like I said, I would be, but
That never happened.
all right, let's go to your favorite team because they not America's favorite team anymore, or they shouldn't be. They need to get rid of that claim. The Dallas stinking Cowboys. And yes, I said stinking because I can't stand the Cowboys. But look, Dak and CD, very, very high quality and caliber players. Anything else around them? I don't think so. Let's get into this regular season. Again, we're going to do 4 teams or 4 games at a time. So at Cleveland, home for New Orleans, home for Baltimore, at the Giants. Now, look, I'm not a Cowboy fan whatsoever, but I do recognize a team that can do stuff. Zimmer will have that defense humming, or they will not be on the field. I think Michael Parsons is going to disrupt a lot of things, but I think Cleveland pulls out the victory because it's at Cleveland week 1. I think they beat New Orleans, lose miserably to Baltimore, and they beat the Giants at the Giants. So I got them 2-2.
My first 4.
Actually, I got them 3-1.
How do you have them 3-1?
Did I say they beat the Browns, or did I say the Browns beat them?
You say the Browns beat them.
Oh, okay, so I got them 2-2. I got them 2-2.
Same here.
Same games?
Same games. 2-2.
Okay.
Doesn't make a difference. Same games.
Well, I mean, I got to get your decision on the games because it matters for documentation purposes. All right. Then we got at Pittsburgh, Detroit. That's a rivalry game. Bye week. Then they go to then they go to San Francisco. The bye week 7 is going to hurt them down the stretch. I really believe so. But at Pittsburgh, I think they're still going to be trying to play around with if it's Russ or if it's going to be old boy. And I think they're going to beat Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh, but they're home for Detroit. And Detroit is on a mission. They're going to lose to Detroit, right? Get a bye week, and they come back, and they go to San Francisco. San Fran has got something for that bootay. They lose to San Fran. So it's not too good coming out the gate, but the next 4 games or next 4 weeks, I got them 1-2 because you got the bye week in there.
All right. Let me put it this way. They beat, in my opinion, they beat Pittsburgh. And then they go they bring Detroit into their stadium and they lose to Detroit. They're going to need it. Okay. They're going to need it because the next game is at San Francisco. San Francisco is their weakness. Too tough a team. Dallas is basically a finesse team. San Francisco is not.
Yeah.
Okay. And after that, after they get beat up at San Francisco, they have to stay on the road.
Wait. Remember, only 4 weeks. 4 weeks. Let me set it up for week 9 through 12. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
They go to Atlanta, home for Philly, Houston, which is going to be a big game, and then at Washington. So I believe they're going to lose to Atlanta in Atlanta. I think Atlanta is going to be that good. I see Philly beating them, especially without the run game that they need to have, because bringing them back, feed me, that ain't going to do it. Rico Dardell is cool, but not good enough. Houston, woo! They got a problem. Houston is going to be a problem. They're home, though. But it don't really matter. I predict that crowd is going to be pro-Houston. That's my thought. I got Houston winning that game But they turn around, come to DC week 12 and beat the Commanders. Go ahead, JT.
All right. Atlanta, they lose. Philly, they lose. I haven't beaten Houston at home. And then Washington, I haven't beaten also.
Okay. I had them losing 3 of those 4 games. Only game they win in that stretch is against Washington. But they kind of level out towards the end of the season as week 13, 14, 15, and 16, I think they win. They beat the Giants because they're at home. They beat Cincinnati because they're at home. They beat Carolina. They're on the road. Tough game versus Baker and company, but because it's at home, I think they win. I might as well finish it out because, well, no, it's 2 games left. Okay, what you got, JT? I got them winning 4 games.
I have them win against the Giants, losing against the Bengals, beating Tampa, beating Carolina in Carolina. So that's, hold on, you also have them winning, and then they also play Tampa Bay. Is that where we were at right now? Last game?
Yeah, they're home for Tampa.
I haven't beaten Tampa Bay. I think you also haven't beaten Tampa Bay. So
yeah, I haven't winning those next 4 because also have them losing the final 2 at Philly. I think Philly sweeps them, and then as I said, they have nothing to really play for because I think they lock up their playoff spot with that 4-game stretch, and they really can't jostle where they're at. So they lose to Philly. Philly wins the division title, and then they lose to Washington last game of the season.
Okay. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. Back record 9-8.
I got them what?
9-8.
I should have them better than 9-8, but I thought they were like 10-7. I thought I had them 10-7, but okay. It's definitely not going to be 12 wins this year. Definitely not 12 wins this year.
No.
But okay, I mean, 9-8. I thought they had it 10-7 because I thought that I had them 1 game better than Washington. But okay, let's move on to the final team in the division, which happens to be the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, Philly is loaded. The only problem I have with Philadelphia, the only problem is Kellen Moore. That's a huge problem because he's calling the offense. But I believe in Jalen Hurts and his ability. I believe in A.J. Brown getting the ball. I definitely believe in Saquon Barkley, whether he's catching the ball or running the ball. I definitely believe in him. 1,025 billion%. But this schedule is not that easy. So in 4-game blocks, right? Open up at home for Green Bay. And there's been some chit-chat about this. Some chit-chat. But Philly opens up with a W, beating the Packers. This is week 2. It is a evening game. Remember I said it's an evening game versus Atlanta. They beat the Falcons Monday night. Then week 3, they're at New Orleans. They beat New Orleans. Week 4, they're at Tampa. They beat Tampa. But here's the other thing. They have an early bye too. Week 5 sucks. But they start off, in my opinion, 4-0. Go ahead, JT.
The first 2 games are at home. I have them splitting. Both teams are explosive teams. I have them losing to them. They got to prove it to me on defense. Okay, they did a lot in this offseason to try to improve the defense, but you don't win a defense or don't win games on paper. Okay, they got to show me that they can go against two offenses in Green Bay and Atlanta back to back and get the job done to get the W. So I have them splitting. I have them winning against Green Bay and losing against Atlanta. Beating Atlanta, I'm beating New Orleans, okay, and beating Tampa Bay in Tampa Bay, even though it's back-to-back road games. I think because of the type of offenses New Orleans and Tampa Bay have, they don't have explosive offenses. I think it's going to make a difference.
So you got them 3-1. I got them 4-0. That first game is in Brazil. We got to remember that. It's going to be in South America, in Brazil, Friday night, September the 6th. So
okay.
Just reminding everybody about that. All right. Again, bye week 5, which kind of sucks because they come back to the Cleveland Browns, week 6, but they're at home. If they were in the dog pound, I would probably give it to Cleveland. But because it's in Philly, I think Philly wins this game. They beat up on the Giants. I believe they beat up on Cincinnati. And 1, 2, 3, 4. And week 9, they beat up on Jacksonville at home. I don't think Jacksonville's going to be that good. We'll get to that in a minute. Go ahead, JT.
All right. They're playing this explosive offense, playing at home. I like the Philadelphia Eagles to beat the Giants. Beat the Browns. But I still believe division rival, they'll beat the Giants. Giants suck. They'll beat Cincinnati. It ain't going to be easy against Cincinnati. It ain't going to be easy against Cincinnati. Okay? Like I said, they have to prove that they were horrible against the pass last season. Okay, let me see that you improved against the pass. Okay? But by this time, they should have their shit together. They should have their stuff together against the pass defense against Cincinnati and also against Jacksonville. Jacksonville is going to be a passing offense also. So, and Jacksonville, they're playing on the road. You know how Jacksonville, a AFC South team, plays on the road versus playing at home. So I think they go and I think they lose to Cincinnati. I think they win against Jacksonville. So they go 3-1 in the next 4 games.
All right. Then they go to Dallas, home for Washington. I believe they win both of those games. Then they go to the Rams. Interesting game here. You might not think so, but the Rams at home are pretty good. Matt Stafford, Kerryon Williams, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua. This is going to be a tough game. Tough game. I think they're actually going to lose to the Rams and lose to Baltimore. So how many games is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. So I got them beating Dallas, beating Washington, and losing 2 straight to the Rams and to Baltimore. JT.
I also have the same 2-2.
Okay. Same 2 games?
Yes.
Okay. But they get back on their horse and they beat up on Carolina week 14, week 15. Again, this is where the bye week comes into play because they had their bye week so early and Pittsburgh is looking for that, hey, we're going to stay above 500 because we're going to make the playoffs this year. They lose to Pittsburgh, even though it's in Philly. I got Pittsburgh beating them. Also, I think they sweep. No, I said they split with Washington. So at Washington, week 16, I believe they lose. I said they sweep Dallas. No, did I say they sweep Dallas? Or did I have Dallas splitting with them? What did I say for the week 17 Dallas game, JT?
I'm not sure. Oh my God. Hold on.
No, because when we did Dallas, we just did Dallas.
Dallas. You say they lose to Dallas.
Okay. So Dallas wins that game. But then they close out the season beating the Giants. What you got? Pittsburgh, Washington, Dallas, the Giants.
I have them beating Washington, beating Pittsburgh, beating Washington, beating Dallas, and beating the Giants at last game of the season.
All right. What's the records?
You said they beat Pittsburgh? Is that what you said?
No, I said Pittsburgh beats them.
Okay. They lose to Pittsburgh. They beat Washington. They lose to Dallas.
I said they split. I said they split with Washington.
Okay,
So that second game, Washington beats them.
Okay, so they lose to that. And Dallas?
Remember I said they split with Washington and Dallas?
All right.
So they beat them in the beginning of the season, but they lose them at the end of the season.
Okay, and they win against. Okay, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 and 7. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
11 and 7.
9, 10,
It's not
11,
18 games. That's
11 and 7.
12.
12 and 5.
12 and 5. There you go. 12 and 5. That sounds about right.
I have them 13 and 4.
Okay, roughly the same. All right, let's move on to the AFC South. But before we do that, let's take a quick break. Let Jerry clear his nose up and take everything got to take care of. He got the paper in his hands. Let's give him a quick 30-second break, and we'll be right back.
Embark on an unforgettable journey through Egypt with Hues of Africa and Soul Journey Travel. Discover the wonders of this ancient land with our expertly curated itinerary, from the majestic pyramids of Giza to the tranquil waters of the Nile. Immerse yourself in the rich history and vibrant culture of Egypt. Book now and use discount code VICTOR2024 to save $100 off your trip. Single and dual occupancy options available with flexible payment plans. Visit our website for more details and start your adventure today.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. And it's still time to jump on that trip. If you want to, there's still time. Give me a second. All right. We're going to head to the dirty South. Put some South in your mouth. And you know why we're going to go there? Because JT loves to abandon teams. I've known this man for 15 years, and he's had 3 teams. Now, he was a Jets fan for all of his life until he went to the Houston Texans. Left Houston when Deshaun Jackson left. Now he's a Browns fan. But Houston's on the come up. Houston is so on the come up, and it's going to be crazy. I got them winning the division again. Last year I had Jacksonville. That was wrong. I had to pay for my mistake. JT is the recipient of that pay, so it is what it is. But Houston is going to be a problem. First 4 games, I got them winning them all. Opening up at Indianapolis, home for Chicago. Check this out. Caleb Williams, if he's there playing, they lose. I think Houston is going to be coming for him hard. Badgley, they still lose, but in a more decent fashion. Week 3 at Minnesota. Look, Sam Bradford is probably still going to be the quarterback at that time. They lose. And then Week 4, home for Jacksonville. I told you, I do not like Jacksonville this year. You're going to be surprised where I have Jacksonville when this is all said and done. So they beat Jacksonville. JT, first 4.
Hold on a minute. I've got to. Oh, I don't have this set up. I got to get this together here. So you're going 4 games at a time. I got to try to keep up with that. All right, let me put it this way. I think they lose against Minnesota. I really do believe that. I think these 2 big games are the first 2 games of the season, and there's going to be a letdown. And I think the letdown is at Minnesota. And I like Minnesota to win that game. I think the first 2 games they win against Indianapolis and Chicago. They lose to Minnesota, and it's the division rival, but they're playing at home in Houston with that AFC South opponents. They play better at home than they do on the road. So I like Jacksonville to lose to Houston. And so you have them Houston 4-0. I have them 3-1.
All right, then we get the revenge game at home. Buffalo comes to Houston. Why is this a revenge game? Because Stephon Diggs wants some revenge. Stephon Diggs, I predict, will have 120 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns in this game. Houston is going to be a problem. They beat Buffalo. They go to New England. Look, I already told you last week, folks, New England's going to be 3-14. This is not a game they're going to win. New England loses this game. Week 7 at Green Bay is going to pose a challenge. It's going to pose a challenge. It's October. It's getting a little cold. I don't know if it starts snowing in Wisconsin around this time or not, but if Green Bay is as good as they this year as they were in the last half of the season, this might be an upset in my opinion. So I'm going to give it to Green Bay. Also, division rival. Even though it's at home, I think the Colts eke out the victory. Week 8. JT. Week 5, week 8.
Yeah, at Buffalo. Stephon Diggs is going to want to get his freak on.
No. It's at Houston. Buffalo's coming to Houston.
I'm sorry, at Houston. Okay, it's at Houston, but they're playing Buffalo. I'm sorry about that. He's going to want to get his freak on because this is his old team. He's going to want to get his freak on. But let me put it this way. This is where you see the Buffalo side of Stephon Diggs. He's going to want the ball. He ain't getting the ball. Let me put it that way. He's getting the ball, but let me put it in his eyes. This is what I'm saying. In his eyes, he's not getting the ball enough.
Okay.
That's where you see the what they thought in Buffalo, you're going to see in Houston. I like Buffalo. Buffalo winning this game. Okay? And pulling off an upset. I like Buffalo winning this game. Then they go to New England. New England's got a tough defense. Houston Texans, they're on the road in New England. On the grass, not in the turf. Inside. I still like Houston to pull this game off. They got better weapons. Then they go to at Green Bay. Letdown team. Letdown game. I like Green Bay to win this game. And then they go to another division rival. Home against Indianapolis. I also, because it's a tough game against Green Bay on the road, and they come back home, they're going to lose in Indianapolis. That's what I think. So you have them 2-2. I have them 1-3 in the next 4 games.
All right, weeks 9 through 12 at the Jets, Detroit. It does not get easy, ladies and gentlemen. At Dallas and Tennessee. Look. If you were here last week, you know I said the Jets were going to run roughshod. I think I had them 14-3 or 13-4, something like that. This is going to be in New York at night, Thursday. Tough game. I got to give it to the Jets. Detroit. Even though it's at home, I think Detroit is one of the premier teams, just like Houston. But Detroit's got their stuff together a little bit better. I got to give it to Detroit. So 2 straight losses for me. At Dallas on a Monday night, already told you. it's going to be a pro-Houston crowd, in my opinion. I got Houston winning that game. Week 12, tough matchup because it's a division rival, and we don't know what Tennessee is going to be really, but I got them beating Tennessee. Talk to me, JT.
Exact games that the losing that you have, I have the same exact games that you're winning as you have.
So 2-2. I mean, not 2-2. Yeah,
2-2. 2-2.
2-2. Okay. Week 13, the second matchup versus Jacksonville. I think they sweep Jacksonville. Week 14 is a bye, which is good because it's getting ready for the playoff push. Week 15, Miami. But this is where it gets tough, y'all. This is where it gets tough at. I mean, no joke. Jacksonville bye week, Miami, and Kansas City. Now, remember what I told you. Miami doesn't win in December. I don't know why. It's in Houston, and it's indoors, so that might change. But I'm going to go with Miami. And then week 16 at the Chiefs, in that cold Hollywood and all them, I got to go with the Chiefs. Got to go with the Chiefs. JT?
I think they lose to the Jags. Jags play better
You think the
at
Jags
home. I
sweep
think.
them? You got them getting swept by the Jags. You know that, right?
Okay. And your
Okay.
point is?
No,
Okay.
Okay.
And the next game is a bye, and then they go play Miami with a bye week right after they play, right before they play Miami, and they're playing Miami where? In Houston. But speed kills. Speed kills. And what does Miami have? A lot of speed. I like Miami winning that game. And it's cold outside in Kansas City at this time of year. I got them winning in Kansas City. No. No.
Oh, I'm about to
I
say,
think Kansas City wins that game. So
okay.
the only thing we have left is home against Baltimore.
So you got them
Tennessee.
losing. Hold on. So you got them losing 3 straight.
Yep.
Okay.
It's not who you play. It's not who you play, but when you play
When
them.
you play them. I got it. I follow. And that's where this next game comes into play. Baltimore and finishing it out at Tennessee. Baltimore is a tough team. But it's in Houston. That's the same grace. It's in Houston. So I got them beating Baltimore and beating Tennessee at Tennessee to finish the season. If that game in Baltimore versus Baltimore was at Baltimore, it's a wrap. But I got Houston beating Baltimore. All right, JT. And then give us our projected.
You have Houston at 10-7.
And you got them at like what,
Really?
5-12?
No. 1, 2, 6, 7, 8. No, I have them 8-9. You have them 10-7. I have them 8-9.
It's not gonna be that much of a regression, bro. But okay. All right, let's go to Jacksonville, who I think is going to be the last team in the AFC South. Yes, I really think they're going to be the last team in the AFC South. Look, last year I was hyped and on them, but then I saw what they did, and it crushed my spirit. They gutted their roster this year, got rid of some coaches, and I really think it was for the wrong. I don't think it was the best thing to do because this schedule, woo! Shad Khan already said he didn't understand why they couldn't win 1 out of the last 6 games. That was an organizational failure. And the only two people that can speak to that are the head coach and the general manager. So when they start off possibly 0-6, heads are going to roll. Let's get started. First 4 games. At Miami, loss. Week 2, Cleveland, loss. Even though it's home in Jacksonville, then Cleveland will be okay in winning that game. They go to Buffalo. Now, here's the thing. I'll be honest. I think Buffalo and Jacksonville are on the same level right now. Both gutted their receiving cores. Jacksonville brought back Christian Kirk. I mean, he not brought him back, but he's come off injury. But they got rid of 2 other big threats. They brought in Gabe Davis. Woohoo! Gabe Davis is a 30 to 40 receiving threat, not the guy. Christian Kirk is going to remain the guy. They got the young receiver they had last year, Evan Ingram, and my boy Travis Etienne. Outside of that, I don't trust them. But I think they beat Buffalo. Like I told you, Buffalo's going to be the 3rd team in AFC East. Said that last week. They go to Houston and they lose to Houston. JT, first 4 games.
Okay, I think they lose to Miami.
Oh,
I think they.
Go ahead. They lose to Miami.
I think they win against Cleveland. Cleveland doesn't play well on the road, and especially against Jacksonville. I think they lose to Buffalo, and they lose to Houston. And rumblings of head coach and whoever are going to be coming out of Jacksonville.
I agree. Week 5, they play the Colts. That's actually a good game because I think Richardson will be either seen as a bigger Cam Newton, or he would have learned how to play from the pocket a lot more. But I got Indianapolis winning that game. At Chicago, I got the Bears. New England, they beat, and they lose to Green Bay, even though it's at home. Week 8, JT.
I have them. What do you have them with Chicago?
I have them losing to Chicago.
Okay, hold on. I have them Indianapolis winning. I have them at Chicago winning. I have them playing New England and winning. And we're not at Green Bay, are we?
Yeah, we are at Green Bay.
I have them losing against Green Bay.
Okay. As I said, does not get any better. Week 9 at Philly, loss. By week 10, I would think J.J. McCarthy is a starting quarterback in Minnesota. I think. And I'm going to give Minnesota the W. So they lose to Minnesota. They lose to Detroit. It's just not good, man. Then they have bye week 12. So I got them losing the next 3.
All right, if they lose the next 3, in my opinion,
Doug Peterson is gone.
Yeah. I think if that's the case, this is probably the ideal time for a change in leadership. Give them a chance at the bye week to make changes and to incorporate those changes going after the bye week.
All right.
Just what I like. Week 9, I think they lose against Philly. Week 10, I think they beat Minnesota. And week 11, I see losing to Detroit going into the bye week.
Okay. They come back week 13, home for Houston. I have Houston sweeping them. You have them sweeping Houston. Interesting enough, it is what it is. I think they split with Tennessee. So did they play Tennessee already? I believe I already said they played Tennessee. No, they did not play Tennessee yet. So this game at Tennessee, Tennessee wins. Week 14. And then they lose to Tennessee. Then week 15, they got the Jets. The Jets beat them. Week 16, they go to the Raiders. The Raiders beat them. I'm telling you, Jacksonville is not going to be good this year. All right, JT.
All right, I have him winning against the Houston. I have him losing against Tennessee. I have him winning against the Jets, and I have him winning against Las Vegas.
Okay. All right. Last two games of the season. I already said they're going to split with Tennessee. So Tennessee loses that game. Week 18, I said they split with Indy. So Indy loses that game because I had them beat them in the first game. So they finish out on a decent note, winning the last two, but in my book, but I don't think it's enough. What you got, JT?
7 and 10 that you have. I have them at 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. I have Jacksonville 10 and 7.
You got them.
You have them at 7 and 10. Yep.
I don't think they're gonna make 10 and 7, especially if we talk about firing Doug Peterson. But to each his own. Let's move on to the Colts. Now let's go to Tennessee. All right. Tennessee Titans. The team that I believe is unpredictable, right? Because we don't know what they're going to be under the new offensive coordinator, new head coach. I do know that they're going to have one hell of a running back situation with Pollard and Spears because Callahan, the dad, is in charge of that offensive line. So let's open it up. All depending on their quarterback now. All depending on the development of the quarterback. Chicago wins the first game of the season. Right? They beat Tennessee. The Jets beat Tennessee. I think the upset comes when Green Bay comes to town. I think Tennessee upsets Green Bay. But on a Monday night, last year, it was a Thursday night that Tennessee came back from getting mollywopped to beat Miami. I don't think it happens this year. I think Miami beats them, especially in Miami in week 4. That means I got them 1 and 3 to begin the season. Go ahead, JT.
I think they lose to Chicago. They lose against the Jets. They lose to Green Bay. They lose to Miami. What's the win you have?
The win that I have.
What's the win you have?
Versus Green Bay. Upset. And the bad thing for Tennessee is they also have a bye week in week 5. So they're going to be kind of beat up throughout the season. I think the Colts sweep them. So week 6, Colts at Buffalo. Buffalo beats them. At the Lions win. What you got?
And Indianapolis, they play Indianapolis at home.
Yep.
I give Tennessee a win. The next 2 games, Buffalo and Detroit, I give them a loss.
Okay. Week 9, 10, 11, and 12. They beat New England. Actually, I think I had New England beating them because they didn't win any division games. So I give this win to New England. But then they go to the Chargers. And I think this is going to be a slobber knocker in the run game department. But I got the Chargers winning the game. Week 11 is week number 2 for me with J.J. McCarthy. But I think the rookie gets an L. I think Tennessee wins that game. They lose to Houston week 12. Go ahead, JT.
To me, they beat New England. They lose to the Chargers. They lose to Minnesota, and they're at Houston. They lose in Houston.
Okay. Week 13 at Washington. I think Washington beats them. Week 14, Jacksonville. I believe I had them beating Jacksonville. Week 15, tougher game than people are going to think. Tougher game than people are going to think. Cincinnati comes to Nashville. Okay? I got to give it to the Bengals. I'm going to give it to the Bengals on this one. At the Colts, I believe I said they lost to the Colts before, so they go to Indianapolis and they beat the Colts because I got them splitting. Week 16. What you got in those 4 games?
Next 4 games, I have them losing to Washington. I have them beating the Jaguars. I have them losing to Cincinnati, and also losing again to Indianapolis.
Okay, they close out the season on a 3-team. All 3 of their division games right there in the season. So at Jacksonville and home for Houston. I got them beating Jacksonville, but losing to Houston.
I have them losing the last 2 games.
Okay. What's next? What you got on them scores?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have them 5 and 12. I have them 1, 2, 3, 4 and 13.
Okay. That's not better than last year. I think they won 6, 7 games last year.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
Tennessee was what the heck were they? Hold on, let me just look. I'm looking right now. Damn it. I'm not sure what they were. I think they won 4 games, if I'm not mistaken.
They didn't have a top pick. They won 4 games, unless they traded down or traded away their pick. Oh, you know what? Did they trade their pick to get Richardson? No, they didn't trade their pick. They didn't trade that pick.
Last season was 6 and 11.
Yeah, I figured they were more than 4 wins because they lost. If I'm giving them 5, that means they won 1 less game this year that I'm giving them. So
that was probably the most competitive divisions because Houston won with a 10-7 record, and Jacksonville and Indianapolis wound up with a 9-8 record.
Yeah, and Jacksonville had a chance to be the number 1 seed. Ended up anyway. Moving on. Week 1 with the Indianapolis Colts hosting the Texans. I love Jonathan Taylor. I like some other pieces, but I got Houston beating that butt. Week 2.
Hold on a minute, man. Hold on. You know, where we at? Indianapolis Colts?
Yeah, last team in the division.
Okay, calm down. I got to get there. I got to see what I'm on. It's like copy it down. You want instant Colts.
Do we need to take a break again? You need me to take a break again, or you good?
Thank you.
Do you want a break? Because I got a break after this.
Let's take a break.
Well,
Let's take a break now
after this one. But okay. So Jerry can get himself together, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna take a quick 30.
I'm trying to accommodate my host who's going so fast.
I will take a 30-second break so we can finish up the AFC South and the Indianapolis Colts. We'll be back right after this.
Embark on an unforgettable journey through Egypt with Hues of Africa and Soul Journey Travel. Discover the wonders of this ancient land with our expertly curated itinerary, from the majestic pyramids of Giza to the tranquil waters of the Nile. Immerse yourself in the rich history and vibrant culture of Egypt. Book now and use discount code VICTOR2024 to save $100 off your trip. Single and dual occupancy options available with flexible payment plans. Visit our website for more details and start your adventure today.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Hopefully JT's got himself together. And we go back to the Colts. As I said, I'm going to open up with week 1, and Houston's going to beat them. I like Jonathan Taylor. I like Richardson a little bit, but I just think Houston is they've got more to offer, especially with Joe Mixon back there. Oh, my God. Than Indianapolis. That's week 1. Week 2, at Green Bay. Week 2 at Green Bay. If Green Bay is what they were, second half of the season, Green Bay wins this game. Chi-Town. I think Chi-Town's better, even though Chicago's coming to Indianapolis. I think Caleb and company wins this game. Week 4, though, it's going to be a tough game with Pittsburgh coming into town. That's why I said Indy isn't going to be that good of a team with Richardson, but he's going to end up being either Cam Newton, throw when he can and run a lot, or he's going to work from the pocket. This is going to be one of them games where you're going to find out. But I got Pittsburgh winning this game. Go ahead, JT.
Okay. So you have Houston, Indianapolis losing to Houston, losing to Green Bay, winning at Chicago, and losing to Pittsburgh. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So I have the same exact. Okay.
Okay. So they're 1-3 so far. Week 5. Say again. Your mic keeps breaking in and out, but I take it you said yes. So
I did say yes.
Okay, cool. At Jacksonville, I believe they beat Jacksonville. I said they're going to split with Tennessee. So even though this is in Tennessee, I'm giving it to Indianapolis because they're going to lose the back end. Week 7, Miami's too much. And week 8.
Oh, wait a minute. You say at Tennessee they're going to win or lose?
They're going to win because they're going to lose the one that's in Indianapolis.
Okay.
But week 7, they got them Dolphins in the dome on that turf. It's a wrap. Dolphins. And I got Houston again. And it's lucky for Indianapolis they're playing Houston early and not late. But I got Houston beating them to finish out week 8, sweeping them. So it's not looking good for Indianapolis thus far. What you got, JT?
Right, I got the Jags beating. I have Houston. I have Indianapolis losing to the Jags. I have Tennessee beating the Indianapolis Colts, and they don't win a game. The next 4 games they don't win. Let me put it that way.
Okay. Week 9, which I believe is going to be the last week of Sam Bradford at quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. The Colts win. And that's what's going to push J.J. McCarthy in that position. Week 10, don't call it an upset. Don't call it a comeback. It's in Indianapolis. Buffalo doesn't have much. The battle of the big bruising quarterbacks, I'm giving it to Indianapolis. Upset with Buffalo. They go to the Jets, they lose to the Jets. And in week 12, they lose to the Colts. I mean, to the Lions. All right, JT.
I have them losing to Minnesota. I have them losing to Buffalo, and also the Jets and the Detroit.
Woo. All right.
Yeah.
They beat New England in New England, but then they get the reprieve at week 14, a bye week 14. They come back week 15 16 with the Broncos and Tennessee. I don't know if it's going to be Bo Nix or whoever in Denver. I just know Denver's going to have a tough time. I got to give these two, I think they win these next 3 games because they got the bye week, week 14. They beat New England, bye week. They beat Denver, and they beat Tennessee because they lost to Tennessee earlier. Go ahead, JT.
I see them losing to Denver, beating Tennessee. Quite naturally, they beat New England. I think New England is probably one of the worst teams in the NFL right now. So
I think they'll be.
It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have the last 2 games.
Okay.
Giants.
At the Giants and Jacksonville. I think they win the last 2 games. I don't see Jacksonville splitting with them. Oh yeah, didn't I say they were going to split with Jacksonville and Tennessee? So yeah, Jacksonville wins that game. So they beat the Giants but lose to Jacksonville because I had them losing to Jacksonville. I mean, beating Jacksonville earlier on.
Okay. So
And the records are going to be.
just relax. Okay. Winning here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, 9. You have them?
Okay. All right.
2, 3, 4.
But you got them 5 and something?
4 and 13.
That's a far cry from the 10 wins they won last year with Gardner Minshew.
They didn't win 10. Yeah, well,
Dude, were they 9 and 8?
9 and 8. 9 and 8.
Okay.
9 and 8.
Well, that's still a far cry from that.
Yep, you're right. Yep. It is what it is.
All right, let's head on over to, and I wanted to do a break here, but JT already got his break. Let's go to the NFC South. Put some NFC South in your mouth. We're going to start off with the Carolina Panthers. Look, Carolina's not going to go.
Jeez.
Huh?
Nothing, man. Nothing. Just go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear you. I was trying to hear what you said. But the New Orleans Saints opened well, I'm talking about the Carolina Panthers. They opened the season at Carolina. Now, look, I'm going to be very honest. I don't see Carolina being much better than last year, but better than last year. I believe they won 3 games last year.
2 and 15.
2 and 15. They might go 4 and 13 or 5 and 12. It's an improvement, but not that much. Here we go. Opening up, New Orleans beats them. They lose to the Chargers week 2. They lose to the Raiders week 3. They lose to Cincinnati week 4. What you got, JT?
You know, let me just say this: when you move over to another division, I got to look at the schedule and then write all this down. It's not like I just have it written in stone. Okay. So I got, and then I got to document first 4 games.
Okay, all right. I'm
just letting you know that.
Okay, I thought you had enough time because, you know.
Well, you just wait a minute. You just transitioned from the AFC South to the NFC South. Now I got to get the schedule up and look at the schedule and write the teams down, and then write 4, not 1, 4 records. Okay, that's why I keep asking you what record.
All right, well,
one loss.
All right. Well, like I said, I was gonna give you a break, but we took it earlier. But let's go. Let me know when you're ready, because I already said they're gonna lose the first 4 games.
I understand that. What Carolina Panthers are going to lose first 4 games. Okay. I have the same way. I have the same way, but I got to.
Okay. Then I got them losing the next 4 games, which are the Bears, the Falcons, Commanders, and Denver.
Okay, so you don't have them winning any games. so far?
At the first 8 games, no.
And
But
okay, I have to concur because I don't see him winning any of those games. Also, I
Okay.
just don't see it. Okay,
But here comes the twist. Here comes the twist. Week 9, week 10, week 11. Week 11 is a bye week. And week 12. 9 and 10, home for the Saints, home for the Giants. They win both games back to back. Yes, I said it. Because they go into the bye week 2 and 8.
New England. Well, okay.
And then after the bye week, even though they're at home, they lose to Kansas City. Go ahead, JT.
All right. So you don't have them winning a freaking game yet.
Yes, I do. I
Oh,
got
you have
them
one-
beating New Orleans and the Giants weeks 9 and 10.
Okay. I have them losing against the Saints, and I have them beating the Giants, and quite naturally, I have them losing against the Kansas City Chiefs after the bye.
I
And
agree with
and at Denver, I have them losing that one also. I'm sorry.
Man, Denver was week 8. But okay, yeah, I'm with you. All right. Week 13. Shocker. I'm saying it now. Shocker. They beat Tampa. They beat Tampa because the quarterback coach who was Baker Mayfield's quarterback coach is now the head coach in Carolina. Just like I told you what happened with Geno. Once he left Seattle and he went to Tampa Bay, Geno regressed. Baker's a very, very good talent. Very good talent. But you have a different offensive coordinator, a different offensive scheme, a different quarterback coach whispering in his ear. I think the QB coach knows Baker better than he does, who's now the head coach in Carolina. So I got to give this to Carolina, at least the first game, because then they're going to lose to Philly, lose to Dallas, and it's going to be a tough Cardinals game. But I'm going to give it to the Cardinals. I'm going to give it to them to beat the Cardinals.
You're going to give it to the Cardinals? Okay. So
No. I think they beat the Cardinals. Week 16. I'll be at that game as well.
Okay. So let me recap this. At week 13, 14, 15, and 16.
Yep.
I have them losing all those games. All of them.
And I am going 2-2.
Okay.
All right. Last 2 games of the season at Tampa Bay and at Atlanta. Look, Baker says, you beat me once, shame on me, but you ain't going to beat me twice. So Tampa Bay beats Carolina week 17, and Atlanta sweeps them week 18. I think I gave them 4 and 13 or something like that.
You have them losing Atlanta last game?
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4. 4 and 13.
Yep.
I have 1. Ooh.
You got them 1 and 16.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
I don't think they're gonna be that bad, bro. I really don't think they're gonna be that bad.
Okay.
But hey, that's what you feel. That's what you feel.
Let me just interject this because I know it's probably off. Yeah, it's not even here because I think we went past that team, but that's okay. Seattle got an offensive coordinator.
We haven't talked about the AFC, the NFC West yet. So
I understand that. Okay, no problem.
But go ahead, say what you're gonna say.
Seattle has the offensive coordinator from where? From the Washington.
I don't know.
From the Washington team.
No, they do not. No, they do not. Seattle does not. Eric Bieniemy is the offensive coordinator for UCLA. I do not know who Seattle's offensive coordinator is. It is not from
Seattle's
Commanders.
offensive coordinator was if I'm not mistaken, he came from the Washington program. He was the either offensive coordinator or he was the head coach. But my point,
Oh, no, you mean Washington State College?
Yes.
We're talking about Washington Commanders.
Yes. No, Washington Commanders. Washington. Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yes.
And his
He
offense,
was the offensive coordinator.
his offense is a high-powered passing offense.
It is. It is.
So when Pete Carroll was a running head coach, defensive minded, this is not going to be the same Seattle Seahawks. This is going to be a push the ball down the field type of Seahawks. So I'm just saying. I get
it. Because the head coach of the Washington Huskies is now the head coach in Alabama because Nick Saban retired. The offensive coordinator in Washington went to the Seattle Seahawks. So
exactly.
Yes. All right. Well, we can talk about that when we get to the NFC West, but we're not there right now. But I get what you're saying. Don't sleep on them. Even though we haven't talked about Seattle, but maybe once or twice. But let's go to New Orleans. New Orleans opens up with Carolina.
Oh, God.
And as I said, with Carolina,
like I said, I once you hit these, I got to write them all down. You don't.
JP, let me ask you a question. We just spent 3 minutes talking about the daggone Seattle Seahawks. You telling me you couldn't transition during the conversation?
Let me put it this way. We're having a conversation, right? So how am I going to be in a conversation and transition it and do this at the same time?
All you're doing is clicking and then writing down a name or two. I mean, if you could only do one thing at a time, I understand, Joe. I mean, Jerry, I'll call you President Biden. I was about to call you President Biden for a hot second, but I refrain.
Okay,
I refrain.
Okay.
I refrain.
I'm just saying. 4 games at a time is a lot different than 1 game at a time. A lot different.
I got you.
That's why I keep on asking you.
Are you writing down the teams that they're going to play, or are you writing down the week?
I'm writing down the teams they're going to play and where they're going to play at.
Okay. All right. I thought you could look at the screen and just do tally marks. Like week 1, week 2, week 3, so on and so forth, because you got the teams on the screen. But okay. All right. You're doing it way differently than what I would do. Okay. Are you ready?
Go ahead.
Okay. The Saints, I believe, over the season beating the Panthers. Right? But it doesn't get any better. It does not get any better. Week 2, lose to Dallas. Week 3, lose to Philly. Week 4, at the Falcons and lose to the Falcons.
So you have only winning 1 game.
Yeah, I got them only winning 1 game so far.
Okay. I concur with that.
Oh, and it gets worse. Week 5, they lose at Kansas City. Week 6, they lose at home versus Tampa Bay. Even though it's normally a split, I'm going to say Tampa Bay comes in there and beats them. Week 7, Denver beats them. Because Sean Payton's like, well, see, yeah, it's me. Week 8 at the Chargers. I love Jim Harbaugh's style of football. I just do. And I think the Chargers beat them. Go ahead, JT.
So you only have them winning 1 game out of the first 7 games.
First 8 games, only win 1. They're 1-7.
Okay. I have them winning against Tampa Bay, and I have them winning against Denver at home.
Okay. All right, week 9. I said they'll split with Carolina, so Carolina wins that game. I think New Orleans loses to the Falcons. They lose to Cleveland. Then they have a bye week. Dennis Allen is fired, probably after they lose to Atlanta, but definitely by the bye week. What you got, JT?
I have to say I concur with all what you just said, and after the week.
Oh, you froze on me. You froze on me, but it's okay.
I said I concur with what you just said, but we move on to the bye week because that's week 13 after week 12.
Yep. The Rams beat them. I believe they beat the Giants. They lose to the Commanders, and they lose to Green Bay. What you got?
I think they beat the Commanders. And I think they lose to Green Bay.
All right. Last two games of the season, they lose to the Raiders, and they beat Tampa. This puts them, in my opinion, in the top 3 of the draft because I think I only got them winning 3 or 4 games, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, young man.
1, 2 games?
No, I got them winning more than 2 games. I got them splitting with Tampa Bay, right?
All right.
I got them
3 and 14.
Yeah, 3 and 14 because I know they beat the Giants.
1, 2, 3,
And they split with the Panthers. Yeah, 3 and 14. 3 and 14 sounds about right.
I have 5 and 12.
Still in the top 3 to 5 in the draft this year, which they need actually, because salary cap issues is going to stop them from doing a lot. It's going to stop them from doing a lot. Did we go over Tampa Bay yet? I don't think we went over Tampa Bay. Let me go over Tampa Bay.
Where you going?
So you can pull up Tampa Bay while I do a little talky talk. Again, while we were talking about the Carolina Panthers, I brought up the issue of losing the offensive coordinator, who was also the quarterback's coach. And I referenced what he did for Geno Smith and what he did for Baker Mayfield and how Geno regressed. Do I think Baker's going to regress this year? Possibly. But in my opinion, Baker is a way better talent than Geno. So I believe there's going to be a regression. How much of one, I'm not sure. But when you got Chris Evans, Mr. 1,000 yards every year, to me, that's a sure Hall of Famer. 1,000 yards every year he's been in the league. Going over 11 years now, 12 years now. Goodwin, that's the thing. He's got to get Goodwin involved. And the run game. The problem with Tampa Bay, in my opinion, is the defense isn't loaded. The defense isn't matching the talent the offense has. And Baker's prone to making mistakes. So you got to have a good defense that's going to be able to make up for those mistakes Baker's going to make. But with that said, let's go into week 1 of the regular season. I already said this with a sad heart. I think Tampa Bay beats Washington week 1, but they turn around, they get mollywopped by the Lions. I think Todd Bowles scares the living crap out of Bo Nix if he's the starting quarterback, or Trevor Siemian, whoever the quarterback is for Denver, and they beat Denver. Week 4, home with the Eagles. The Eagles, in my opinion, have too many daggone weapons. Too many weapons for Tampa Bay to compete with, and they lose to the Eagles. So I had them going 2-2 the first 4 games. JT, talk to me. JT. Oh, okay. I thought you were frozen again.
Same here.
You got them 2-2 same games?
Yes.
Okay. Let's move on. Week 5. Division games begin, and they lose to Atlanta. at Atlanta. I believe, as I said, they lose to New Orleans that first game. But then week 7, they lose to Baltimore. It's like, what's going on? What's going on? They come back and they beat Atlanta in week 8. Again, they get their biggest rival out of the way at the beginning of the season, which is Atlanta. Now it's a race to the finish to see who can do better. And in my opinion, it's going to be Atlanta, even though they split the season series with them, in my opinion. Go ahead, JT. Weeks 5 through 8.
I have them losing to Atlanta, losing to Queens, losing to Baltimore, and also losing to Atlanta.
You got them losing the next 4? Your mic is breaking up something terrible, dude.
I sure do.
Okay, you sure do. Okay. All right. That's wild. But it doesn't get any better because I think they're going to lose. They lose a lot. Right? I got them losing in week 9 to Kansas City, losing week 10, home with San Francisco. Then they get the bye week 11. But they get back on track because they got a softer schedule at the end and beat the Giants in week 12. I doubt if we have any differences there.
No, I don't.
Okay. All right. Week 13, they as I said, because the quarterback coach, offensive coordinator is no longer there, and he's there in Atlanta. I mean, in Carolina, the Carolina Panthers win that game. I believe the Raiders are going to be way better than a lot of people think, and they lose to the Raiders. I think they beat the Chargers in LA to get back on track, but it's going to be tough. And then they lose to Dallas. Week 16. Talk to me, JT.
I think they passed Carolina with a win. All 3 of those are losses.
To the Raiders, to the Cowboys, and to the Chargers?
Yes.
Okay. Week 17 and 18, I believe they beat the Panthers and they close out by beating New Orleans because they split with both those teams. What do you got on the plate for those last 2 games, JT? And what's the record? I'm not sure if your internet's or the weather's bad, but you keep glitching a lot.
You have 7 and 10. I have 6 and 11. Pretty close.
Yeah, pretty close. I think we're both. I think we're right. We're in the ballpark, and I think just like what happened with Seattle, it's going to be the same effect in Tampa Bay. And just so Jerry can go ahead and switch over. And it's the last team of this show. We're going to take a 30-second break so JT can get himself together as we go on to the Atlanta Falcons. Stick and stay with me and JT. It's the FSP Crew Show. I mean, Jesus. It's the FSP Show. We'll be back.
Embark on an unforgettable journey through Egypt with Hues of Africa and Soul Journey Travel. Discover the wonders of this ancient land with our expertly curated itinerary, from the majestic pyramids of Giza to the tranquil waters of the Nile. Immerse yourself in the rich history and vibrant culture of Egypt. Book now and use discount code VICTOR2024 to save $100 off your trip. Single and dual occupancy options available with flexible payment plans. Visit our website for more details and start your adventure today.
All right, we're back. And we're about to wrap up this show. Kind of a long show, but it's okay. Last team on the docket is the Atlanta Falcons. I'm picking Atlanta to win the division and be, listen to me now, either the 2 or 3 seed in the NFC playoffs. That's where I got them. They might mess around and be number 1, but we'll see. Here we go. First game of the season. They're at home versus the Steelers. I got to win. They're at Philly. Unfortunately, I think Philly's going to be a little better. Excuse me. It's a Monday night game. We know how Kirk does Monday nights. So I got Philly winning that game. Sunday night, they follow Philly with a Sunday night game. Again, Sunday night, Kansas City. They lose. Now you got to remember, Kirk is coming off of an ACL injury. He's had enough time, but the scheduling people were not kind to him in the beginning of the schedule. But then he settles in, and week 4, he's got New Orleans. So I got him 2-2 for the first 4 games of the season. JT, what do you got? Say again?
Same here. Same here.
Okay, all right. I'm making sure because you keep breaking up on me. All right. I had to check my phone real quick. Week 5, Tampa. I already said Atlanta comes in there. Atlanta wins that game because they're going to lose the following to Tampa. But they win this game. They beat Carolina. They beat Seattle. And then they lose week 8 at Tampa. What you got, JT? And Tampa is a Thursday night game. Oh, my gosh. So let me flip-flop. They're going to lose week 5 to Tampa because it's a Thursday night game. They're going to win against Carolina, win against Seattle, and they're going to win at Tampa week 8. And I just lost JT. Okay. Well, with that being said, I'm not sure if JT's internet fell off or he fell off, but that gives them to me a 3-1 in the next 4, making them 5-3 so far. All right, week 9, I believe they beat Dallas. They beat New Orleans in week 10. They beat Denver week 11. Then they get the bye week. So that's 3 games. So now they're 8-3 going into the bye week that I have them. And there's JT. He's back. So he had some technical difficulties and dropped off. But I got him 8-11 going into the bye week. I had them beating Dallas, beating New Orleans, beating Denver, and bye week 12, making them 8-3. What you got, JT?
Hold on a minute now, and I got to catch up here. They at Tampa Bay, they lose that one. Okay, where do you have them at Tampa Bay?
Which one?
Winning. I said at Tampa Bay, so that's
I know week 8 or week 5.
Week 8 at Tampa Bay.
Week 8. Yeah, week 8. Well, I did that when I did 5 through 8, but week 8
I got cut off, so I didn't catch it.
Okay, because I had to change. I said they're going to lose that week 5 to Tampa because it's a Thursday night game, but then week 8, I said they win at Tampa Bay.
Okay.
All right. And then I have them beating the next 3 games. I have them beating Dallas, New Orleans, and Denver.
Wow. Okay.
Because then you have the bye week 12.
And at Denver. Okay. Okay. So I have them losing against Dallas, losing against New Orleans, and I have them beating Denver. So.
Okay. After the bye week, they get the Harbaugh effect, which is going to be kind of tough. But look, I think Atlanta's going to be running roughshod over some people, and I don't know if the Chargers are going to be, that good outside of running the ball and on defense this year. And I think Atlanta's going to put up points. So I got Atlanta beating the Chargers. I got them beating Minnesota at Minnesota. Revenge game for Kirk. And he's going to be playing the rookie, in my estimation. Week 15, look, I think the Raiders are going to be good, but I don't think they're going to be good enough to beat Atlanta. So I've got Atlanta beating the Raiders. And, of course, Week 16, Atlanta beats the Giants. Go ahead, JT.
All right, so I have them beating the Chargers and Minnesota. I have them losing to Las Vegas. Las Vegas plays very well at home. And I have them beating the Giants. Giants are horrible.
All right. I got them closing out the season, unfortunately beating my Commanders and then beating Carolina. So that gives us what?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 and 3?
14 and 3? Yep.
That's what you have. 1, 2, 3,
That
4,
go ahead.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You have them 14 and 3. I have them 10 and 7.
Like I said, I have them the number 2, at worst the 3, and maybe the number 1 overall seed, depending on what happens with San Francisco and Detroit. But yeah, that's how I see it. Kirk, listen, I believe Atlanta is that good, and they were lacking at the quarterback position. Now they got a bona fide quarterback. Different offensive scheme, something he's used to. That's why Drake London is getting drafted so quickly. Drake London is getting picked, and JT picked Drake London in one of the drafts that we're in together rather quickly because he knows the quarterback, the value of the quarterback. But people are going to sleep on Pitts. They better not. Pitts is about to blow up like the World Trade. I'm telling you. So will Atlanta. But with that being said, JT, that concludes our review of the NFC East, NFC South, and AFC South. I know you got to go because the wife is telling you got to go. But what you got before we go?
Oh, hey, it's the month of July. It's the second Sunday of the month of July. And I'm inviting you, Mr. FSP, to my fantasy football mock draft 7.0. 7 rounds, people. We got one more mock draft to go. That's next month to give you a good idea of who you should be drafting in the first 7 rounds. It gets deep. It's going to be a while. It's going to take a while for 7 rounds. So 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on not the master plan, is for no reason. Fantasy football. You see it behind you, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, X, and also on Facebook. Be there or be square.
All right. And with that being said, go ahead.
And Mr. FSP.
Yeah.
I know you be a lonely man because you don't have that, because you're not where you used to be. So congrats on moving on. Yeah. I was like, what are you talking about? First of all, I ain't never gonna be lonely because I got too many friends that I associate with online, right? But the ceremony is happening on the 25th. The actual, ending of it all is August 28th, right? But I'm glad you brought that up. Stay on the line. We're going to talk about this real briefly once we get off. If the wife don't whip the chain, don't pop the whip on okay.
Me.
Stop.
Oh, she is. She is. But it's not lonely. This ain't what is it? Something.com. I'm not lonely at all. I'm rejoicing because I'm gonna tell you some things that have been happening outside of that. But thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you for welcoming me into the fraternity. And yes, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, next week, the plan is to hit the NFC North and the AFC North. We're saving you know what? We're gonna say the best for last. We're gonna do the NFC West and the AFC West. That's what we're gonna do next week. So Jerry will not ask me at the last second, what are we talking about? It is the NFC West and the AFC West next week. Got it, JT?
I got it.
Yeah, okay. All right, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all for tuning in. We appreciate the love, Tony. Hope you're able to jump on next week. Q, where you at, brother? We miss you. Come on board. We out.
Fantasy, sports, and politics.
You wanna talk smack? You in the right place. So take a step back before I get all up in your
Remember, because I don't remember. I remember every bit of this.
You're the dudes holding on the phone line. Your voice will be heard, sir.
Next caller, please.
Oh!
Jerry's gonna get him.
Fantasy, sports,